This is the What Morning Show. Hey.
Like a monkey making love to a football. That's kind of hot.
I don't. Just stop rapping. That's not your. You're a comedian. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, Zoe Williams, the voice of reason.
Football loving.
It's the Zoe What Show.
What does that make him the voice of?
Yeah, that's interesting. What voice would you be?
I don't even know, man. That's too much for me.
Who do you speak for? Keep in mind, you was just talking about the monkey and
he's at a loss for words. This beats the ignorant white question.
Right. Like a monkey making love to a football. I mean, whose representative are you?
Halftime in the Super Bowl. Everybody watching.
Okay.
Go get some peanuts and come back and watch the monkey.
Okay, that's Geoff Brown. Next to Geoff Brown, of course, is my good friend Mark Goulston, author of Just Listen, right? How to get through, how to break through, how to get through
to anyone except Geoff.
Except Geoff. Yes, and look at him. He's still tripping. Anyway, I want to do this really quickly. If you're near a phone, get to it right now. 323-965-1600 is the number to dial. Call us right now and tell us where you were. You know, the day the buildings fell down. Of course, you know it's September 11th, 2012. That means it's the...
Shout out to 9/11.
Is that something shout-outable?
I don't think so.
I think our producer, who's about 11.
Mark me with that.
It's too late. Right? It's already out. Go on.
She's 11 years old. Don't forget to shout out 9/11, huh?
What?
Is that shout-outable? Somebody call us, 323-965-1600. Where were you on the day the buildings fell? What were you doing? I was in Atlanta. It was crazy. They locked the whole city down. I was down there studying for Microsoft Certified Systems Engineer test. And it was crazy. Everything got locked down. Couldn't go nowhere. Couldn't do anything for many, many hours. Some people who are at work, especially at government facilities like CDC, they had to stay there until they were told to leave. At the time, I was dating a young lady. She worked for the CDC. She couldn't leave. They locked that facility down.
They ain't playing. CDC ain't playing.
It was serious. So where were you? 323-965-1600. You? Where were you, Geoff?
Dude, I was laid up. Because, I'm a comic. So... I come in late, I sleep late, I wasn't doing nothing. I was laying there, the TV was on, and they popped to this special, and it was a plane that had hit a building. And I'm like, wow, man, that's horrible. And I've had, because I fly so much, I've had bad dreams about stuff like this. Dude, when the second plane hit, that's not something that you heard about. Everybody saw it. I was, my butthole puckered tight right then. I'm like, this is for real. This is what's up. It's going down. And then when the building started to fall, that's when the conspiracy light went off in my head.
Hey, speaking of conspiracies, if you have one, if you have your strange little perspective, I'm sure Geoff Brown is going to love to build on it. 323-965-1600 is the number to dial. Dr. Mark Goulston, where were you, man, and what was going on in your mind when you saw that surreal
I was a live guest to, I think, WMAY in Springfield, Illinois. I was in Los Angeles, and the host said, wait a minute, we're seeing something on the monitor. So on the show, he just watched that, and then... And I got to say, when those buildings fell down, did you feel it in your stomach? I mean, when I watched it go down, it was like something dropped inside me and everything around me. It was just this visceral feeling.
Yeah. That's when I knew it was serious. Like this kind of stuff doesn't happen in America. You know what I mean? Like, where are we now?
And the thing is, we don't get that we have been doing that to countries since we've been here.
Uh-oh.
We've been doing. We were just.
What are you, some type of communist?
I'm just showing the other side of the coin.
I don't want to hear no good. What are you, Malcolm X? The chicken's coming home to roost? Is that what you're talking? Huh? Now, I told you not to say anything negative about this man.
That's dead on.
I'm just saying.
That's Al Freeman doing. Honorable Elijah Muhammad. That's brilliant.
We have to distance ourselves from your great blunder. I'm just saying.
Ladies and gentlemen, Zoe Williams. That's dope.
No, it's crazy. So listen, if you want to talk about it, tell us what you think. 323-965-1600 is the number to dial. Tell us where you were, man. And our lives have changed. The landscape of being an American, being in the world has changed because
Absolutely.
of those attacks. The Patriot Act has been enacted since then. Civil liberties have been adjusted. Constitutional law has been changed. A lot of things. Guantanamo Bay exists because of these things. 2 wars, Iraq and Afghanistan. Crazy changes have happened in the 11-year span. Man, what do you think is the most significant change from 9/11 till now? Because of 9/11, I should say.
Airport security has become
Jesus.
big time bullshit. This is a true story.
Right. I want you to take your birthmark off.
Hilarious.
What? How can I take it off? You can't get on a plane with a birthmark. Huh?
I use oils. I use like Egyptian musk, like oils
on the
to
plane?
fragrance. No. Okay. I'm going somewhere with this.
Okay.
And I use baking soda for toothpaste. Coincidentally, I don't have any cavities at all.
Okay.
I use baking soda. I'm getting on the plane. I'm going through security.
Mm-hmm.
They stop me. They go, "What is this?" It's oil. I try to explain to them it's body oil. You rub a little and you put it on so that you don't smell like a couple of you people who are close to us right now. Who smell like a hot monkey. But anyway, they took that.
Yeah.
The Ziploc bag full of white powder, they let me go right through it.
Oh, Jesus. He's
They let
got
me go
business.
right through it.
He's got business.
I didn't say nothing because I didn't want to be in the back for a while. I wanted to make my plane, but I'm like, you people are like monkeys.
Throwing.
Yes.
No, go on, say
It's
it.
monkeys
Go on.
throwing shit. Just monkeys throwing shit.
And on that note, Dr. Mark Goulston, what is the name of your Facebook page that we really need to frequent for Geoff? Geoff needs to sign up.
Facebook.com, swear no more. And
Jeez.
oh, God.
That's going to be a problem.
I know.
I like cussing. I like it.
You do?
I enjoy it.
How does it make you feel?
Fulfilled. Completed. Sometimes when I cuss people out, I feel so good. I feel like I should mark off on my day planner.
When was the last time you cursed somebody out?
Oh, Sunday at the Comedy Store?
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, 323-965-1600. If you want to cuss somebody out, call us right now, and then Dr. Mark will direct you to his website.
Swear no more.
Swear no more. So let's get it off your chest right now. 323-965-1600. Swear no more. Doc, what do you think is the most significant change that has happened since 9/11? Because of 9/11, I should say.
I don't think we feel bulletproof. I think there was something about feeling bulletproof. You know, we're protected by Canada, Mexico, ocean. And here's the big deal: is I think it's what Geoff was saying. I think we have the chance to feel the way the rest of the world feels, and we fight it. We resist it. We don't want to feel empathy for the rest of the world, and I think that's one of our problems. And I think the rest of the world thinks that we don't give a, but I'm not going to swear about
Shit. Damn.
That wasn't even bad.
Damn, either one of them.
Okay, that's enough. Swear no more, Geoff.
Swear no more. 323-965-1600. And again, we have our crack. She doesn't do crack, but she's our crack journalist, our crack reporter and producer. Mercedes Bryant is in the building. What other stories are happening out there? Talk to me about what's going down in the world.
Okay, so there's terrorism with 9/11, so we know that. But there's also terrorism in Chicago.
Uh-oh.
Which is
Chicago got terrorists?
Watch it.
It's like terrorism, black on black terrorism.
Oh.
Yeah, so in this year alone, there's been over 152 killings in Chicago between the months of June and August, which isn't a great big span. Mm-hmm. And 3 out of every 10,000 high school children were killed in Chicago last school year. Yeah, so President Obama on Sunday, he gave a speech at Vernon Park where he was pretty much talking about how it's really sad that there's been more killings in Chicago, Illinois, than in Iraq. So more people have died in Chicago than Iraq soldiers.
Stop.
Yeah.
So why isn't that a big story?
Because there is a premium on white flesh that is not on black flesh.
Well, I mean, what about Iraqi flesh or Afghani flesh? I mean, those are big stories.
Well,
those have been big stories for a decade now.
Well, the concept of a war zone, the concept of war declared in comparison to just an inner city area is the reason that they make that. That's the only reason that they make that comparison, is that one is war and one is just, I'm on my way to work today and a bullet comes through the windshield and I'm done.
If you're from Chicago, call us right now at 323-965-1600. Again, is Chicago more dangerous than Iraq? That's the question.
I don't know if it's more dangerous, but you can't get no Harold's chicken in Iraq. I know that. You ever had Harold's chicken?
I had Harold's chicken and it wasn't as good as I thought.
Oh my God!
I maybe went to the old busted one.
They're all old and busted. Have you Italian Fiesta pizza? That's the best pizza, and it is worth risking getting shot. It is fantastic. Wear a vest. Go get some pizza.
Oh God!
It is delicious. Oh my God!
Doc, so talk to me. Like, what are your thoughts on this? Are you removed from this? Did you even know that there were more deaths in Chicago? What was that, last year?
Yeah.
Than Iraq?
Soldiers.
Come on.
The problem is,
That's
how do you get people, it's kind of like what Geoff was saying, how do you get people to care about that? Because I think the reaction is from the world, is who cares? Okay, next news item, and so how do you even get people to care about that? Maybe part of it. Maybe this is part of it, and this is my ignorant white comment and there'll be many more. Is I think people like to stay away from powerlessness, and so I think when you feel like, well, we can't do anything about it, so let's not think about it. And I think there's this view, well, we're powerless about the rage in the inner cities. We're powerless about people killing each other. So we're just going to focus on something else. And any ideas how you can get people to care about it?
Geoff?
I think people are just following pimp rule number 7, which is...
Oh, wait, how many pimp rules are there?
346. Pimp rule number 7, never respect a person, an entity, a thing more than that person, entity, or thing respects itself.
Wow.
Because now you a fool.
Wow.
That's why dudes don't want to date girls who are perceived as hoes, because they don't respect themselves. And now if you respect them more than they respect themselves, you look stupid. Wow. So people.
So you're saying.
So connect that to this Chicago.
Yeah. So you're saying the black on black crime is like, those people don't care about themselves.
They don't care about themselves.
Why should we care?
Absolutely. There is no repercussion. Repercussion. There's no repercussion to doing anything to black people on a grand scale. You can kill them and stay out of jail. You can say what you want to about them. And guess what? As a group, they'll let it happen. They'll get mad about it, and Jesse Jackson will show up and say some stuff and pick up a check. But other than that, nothing real ever really happens. So these people don't care about themselves. So you know what? Why should we?
Are you saying the black community lacks conflict resolution, like in order to police them, to police ourselves?
I guess I'm saying that. I don't know if I'd have used that many.
I mean, because
words.
I think that's what it is, though. Like, if you don't have conflict resolution skills, all you have is mounting conflict. It just keeps going.
No, I think what Geoff said is the difference between something being important and people caring about it. People don't do what's important; they do what they care about. It's important to me to be healthy, but I don't care enough about it to do what I should do. And I think what he's saying is people just don't care enough about themselves. And what he's saying is if they don't care enough about themselves, why should we care about them?
Wow.
Yeah. I think so much of what we okay.
How much of the black community is like that? Is let's do it this way. Is the Chicago numbers reflective of all of black people? The majority of black people?
What is that? It's reflective of enough. I think even amongst the deepest, smartest thinkers, we all have this in common, that we are cut off from our true history, which is why we always look for leaders. There's no Japanese leader that all the Japanese wait on, or a Jewish leader that all the Jews wait on. There's nobody, because they don't need that, because they have a sense of what is right, because they are connected directly to their heritage. We are cut off from...
But what happens when people say that's an excuse that black people keep leaning on?
What happens to generally people who say...
At some point, when are you going to stand up and go find the history? Because it's not like you can't find it nowadays. This is the information age. It's out there.
Well, you really don't want to hear my answer to that, I don't think.
We'll go deeper.
I think that the people who dig and reach, yourself, myself, others, are going to find each other, and the rest will eventually perish. And we are just on the way. We are arranging deck chairs on the Titanic right now, and that it's going to get much worse before it gets better. It probably won't get better it'll start to get better around when my grandchildren's children come about. It's going to take some.
Geoff, before you're going to make a joke about this, but before you make a joke, I want to hear some of your intelligence. I'll make a joke.
Are you implying that my jokes?
No.
I think the doc is going at your neck.
This is flirting with swear no more. There's an expression called impotent rage, and it's the rage of powerlessness. And underneath most rage is people just feeling powerless. And so a lot of times you feel, well, if I have nothing to lose, I have nothing to fear. I don't have anything to hold on to. But it's that powerlessness. I think now you tell me.
But does that apply to all? What percentage of the black community does that apply to?
Well, let me ask you. I think if you ask what percentage of all communities focus on solutions as opposed to staying stuck in problems and venting and whining about how powerless they are, I think a huge percentage of people never get to kind of what we say, now what? When you say to someone, okay, I get you're upset, now what? A lot of people can't get to that. What do you mean, now what? Well, this is unfair and someone else has to fix it. And I think there's an increasing number of people who get stuck in not being able to get to a solution. And then the more powerless you feel, the more enraged you feel, and then you trigger pretty quickly.
Impotent rage.
Yeah, the rage of powerlessness.
Wow, that's deep. That's
okay, Geoff. Okay, rip it apart, Geoff. Okay.
Wait, Geoff. We got to take a quick break. But when we come back, we're going to come right back to Geoff. Hold that thought. I want you to pick up right there. We'll be back. Zoe Williams Morning Show with Dr. Mark, Geoff Brown. We're having a good time. Call us 323-965-1600. The Zoe What Morning Show. We're having a good time right now. We have another story that's connected to these deaths in Chicago, and I think it's very. What are you
I didn't do nothing.
You were going to ask Geoff to respond to this powerless thing. He was all set to give us something powerful.
But no, Geoff made some type of sound.
I swear to God I didn't. That was her.
But then he went and relieved himself, so he's good now.
That was Geoff? Okay,
that was
Geoff.
Chuck.
So, like the doc said, let's respond to the powerlessness that's happening in the community in Chicago and what's happening. Because we have some other stories here that I think is very, very important to what we're talking about. Go ahead, Geoff.
Powerlessness, I think, is only a part of what's going on here. I think the concept of no repercussion coupled with young cats not wanting to take a L.
What does that mean?
Take a loss. Dude, when we were, okay, I don't know, Zoe, I don't know, I'm a little longer in the tooth than you. But when I was growing up in Chicago.
A lot longer.
It was it was like this, okay? I got a beef with you, you got a beef with me. We get together in the park, you bring your boys for insurance, I bring my boys for insurance, make sure don't nothing ignorant jump off, and we go at it. And that was that. Whoever won was whoever won. Well, no, I got to go to my trunk. And the only cats that carried guns back when I was in Chicago was real gangsters and real punks. That's the only cats. Everybody else.
So you're saying fighting and conflict and beating each other up is part of growing up. But when you take it to, I'm going to kill you, which seems to be...
Right.
You know, we need the Mo D record, Wild Wild West, because that's what that song was about too.
Right.
You know,
break out before you get bum rushed.
Right.
Yes.
We need that record too because, Mo D he has a great point about what you're talking about, powerlessness, right? And this is why we act out against each other in a lot of ways. What the gun did, right? Because you remember everybody had a dude in their neighborhood that was nice with his hands,
right?
And nobody wanted any piece of
that
him,
dude right there.
Right? So he was typically, inaugurated as the leader. Because nobody wanted to see the doorknobs, right? The gun is the great equalizer. Because now a wimp, a punk, who has no hands, who can't fight for himself and defend himself.
And doesn't like his place in the food chain.
Right, now he's the big dog because he has a gun. So my question is, Now anybody can get a gun. So whatever hurt or pain or whatever you're going through, that gives you some sense of power, right? That gun, that equalizer in some way is some kind
Absolutely.
of, you see what I mean?
I feel you.
And I'm thinking,
to bring this back to kind of regular people, one of the things that someone pointed out to me that I thought was pretty amazing is that we act our worst, even in our regular relationships, when we feel most powerless.
Right.
So, when we're yelling at someone we love, and they feel overpowered by how angry we sound, we're yelling at them because we feel powerless, and we can't understand why they feel so upset or so afraid of us, because we're acting that way not because we feel like we're bullying them. We feel like we're not being heard, we're not being respected, and we feel powerless.
We're not being considered, we're not being appreciated, all of this, right?
Or we're just assholes that kind of are bullies and are tyrants. Those people exist.
In our
relationships. I was married to one.
She was a tyrant.
She was a peace terrorist. She was a peace terrorist, dude. Just horrible. She was a horrible individual. Well, no, I can't say that. She was two people. The one girl, oh my God, dude, sometimes I would go in the bathroom and go, man, oh, she's sitting there all sexy. She done told me it's going down. I come out of the bathroom and come back, and that other bitch is sitting on the couch. Oh, my Lord, who are you?
It just sounds like bipolar.
Yes.
Schizophrenia.
Just two people. Okay. So there are, now add that to this equation. There are some crazy-ass people out there.
Hey, that's a great record, and she's playing it right now, Wild Wild West. That's my guy right there, Kool Mo.
Yes. Shout out to Kool Mo.
They don't fight, they kill.
The Wild Wild West.
So he said, we would fight with our hands, beat you down like a man. But what's going on in Chicago? There's this kid out there, and I think you guys should follow this because this is tied into the deaths in Chicago, outnumbering the death of soldiers in Afghanistan. What's this next story about this gang situation and this young kid?
Chief Keef. He's a 17-year-old rapper. He's out of Chicago, and allegedly he's a gang member of the 300 Block Discipline Gang.
Disciples?
Disciples. The
Yes.
300 Black
I mean,
Discipline?
they discipline people, I guess.
Do they?
No, there's no way to
You
connect
guys have
that.
to remember she's 12.
Chuck, I love you so much, but there's no way to connect.
Disciple.
You gangsters give out discipline. Okay?
You guys
No, I ain't
teach
finna
people.
rob you. I ain't finna rob you, bitch, but you got to time out. You got to time out. You got to sit in the corner.
300 Black Disciple Gang.
She said, they teach discipline.
They teach discipline.
What is the discipline that they
Are
teach?
you keeping up with your studies, young man? Before I break in your house? This is the discipline gang.
Oh, God.
This room is nasty. I refuse to rob this house until y'all clean it up because I am the leader of the discipline gang.
Disciple.
God damn it, I'm finna shoot you in the face because you wasn't sitting up straight. Because I am the leader of the discipline gang.
See how they
That's
really don't-
great.
We're going to ride that little bit.
Disciple.
I can't rescue this.
You
Chuck.
can't.
You're on
You're
your
in
own
trouble
now.
now.
Me and Doc are on the same boat.
It's sinking.
Who left these crayons on the floor? I'm going to call the discipline gang.
It's a gang
That's
that
ignorant.
it's a gang that teaches discipline.
Gang that teach
Discipline
discipline.
people. They're gangbangers. So
They're
they
called disciples. huh?
disciple.
But my question is, go deeper. What are they disciples of?
Murder.
Oh, well,
There you go. And then now to take the funny off of it. Disciples of murder?
they
disciples
the devil's
of rage.
disciples
No,
is where they came from.
Devil's disciples.
That's where it came from.
This is a Chicago gang.
Yes, it's a Chicago gang. But in defense somehow of this concept, when I grew up in what was called the GD area in Inglewood, which is where this firestorm is. Now, like these
But
people,
weren't most of these gangs like the Crips and the Bloods and the
absolutely.
and even the Disciples are offshoots of
Black
Panthers and things of that nature,
Dude.
and they were about empowerment.
Seriously, when I grew up, my nickname was School Books. Before some shit was to go down, they used to go School Books, go in the house.
You going out.
You going to
I
the
remember
house.
that. Do you remember when the gangs appreciated and respected the smart kid in the hood?
Yes.
And protected him? Now, we might be fighting with each other, but if we see this kid that we can see a future in,
a future of
everybody would protect him.
and the athlete.
You get out of here.
Get your ass out of
We
here.
know you gonna make it to the league.
Right. You gotta
Or
go.
you gonna make it, you gonna be a politician or something. You gotta get out of here.
I'll tell you something else they used to do. If let's just say I was a gang member and Zoe had crossed me. My problem is not with Zoe's family. My problem is with Zoe. Zoe's mama might get off. If she get off at 8:30 and get off the bus at 9:15 to walk to the house, it would be some gangbangers that would walk her to her house and make sure nothing happened to her. And go, hey, Miss Williams, how you doing? Have you seen Zoe? And they gonna go find Zoe, but they ain't riding by Zoe's house and shooting up his babies and doing that. That was
Or
no.
even the reverse of that. She could go to them and say, I haven't seen Zoe.
Yes.
Go get my boy and
yes.
bring him home.
And I'm gonna tell you what, they were like the black mafia.
Your mama looking for you, dude. Go home.
Go home now, and you going. That was what the mafia was back in the day, because the police wouldn't come to the Italian ghettos.
Right.
So the mafia was like the police of the area, and they policed their own problems. And this is what the gangbangers used to be about.
Right.
This crazy mess here, that I don't even recognize it.
So to talk to the doc real quick, because we're going to tease the second hour of this show, because we're going to be talking about suicide. And the doc brought up something that was very, very interesting. Impotent rage, right? Mm-hmm. And when we're looking at our community, man, you know, there have been a lot of suicides that have been happening. We're going to cover that later on. But to tie all of this downtrodden, killing each other and all of this stuff, I would think that the potentiality for one to commit suicide would be extremely high in the African American community. What are the numbers? Does anybody know?
No,
Our crack producer can find that for us.
She will.
But before I send her on that mission, I'd like for her to read this story about this kid, because I see him as a potential leader and not just a gang member, even though this kid is 17 years old, right? Chief
Right.
Keef, right? Talk to me about Chief Keef and what's going on with him, and we're going to tie in all of this stuff together.
Okay, so Chief Keef, he's a rapper.
Mm-hmm.
He's an alleged gang member of the 300 Black Disciple Gang.
Disciples, right?
And basically he's
Discipline.
he's feuding with rapper Lupe Fiasco. Lupe is more like inspirational type.
Conscious MC.
Yeah.
Yes.
He's on the common side of things.
Right.
Right.
And basically, they in an interview, they asked Lupe what he thought about Chief Keef, and he's coming up. He's going to be a new rapper in the game. And Lupe was just saying that he doesn't have any thing bad to say about him personally, but he doesn't like what he represents. Chief Keef represents in the culture and the lifestyle.
A culture of murder, a culture
Right.
of death. This is a young guy who's a part of a notorious gang
Right.
who kill other black men. Now, what's interesting, I have a friend who wrote a story for the Griot, right? I think I sent you that story as well. Her name is Talia Griffin. She's a college graduate, went to, from Chicago. She wrote a story about Chief Keef and talked about the record industry war that they waged to get him signed to a major deal. Now, they went so far as to, they signed up his friends to make sure we can get him. Just to show you how dedicated we are to get you, we'll give your friends record deals. And this is why
How tight is he?
It ain't even about how tight he is. My thing is, there's an irresponsibility in corporate America that will give this kid who represents a culture of death and murder, black on black crime, a major platform to affect and influence a lot of
Because
kids.
he represents money, and there's a lot of selfishness and greed out there, and it doesn't care how it makes it, just as long as it makes it. And I think it is really irresponsible. I think it's close to criminal because you think these people aren't influencing other people, you're crazy.
Well, I almost agree. That's what I was about to say. I almost agree with you. I don't think that they're irresponsible. I think what they are directly responsible for and answering to is an agenda to do exactly what they're doing. I don't think that it's about this blind concept of currency. There are other ways to make a whole bunch of money. It is not just that. It is institutionalized and an open, thought-out concept that we're going to screw over these people and keep screwing over these people.
I mean, and it's really tough. This is him, Chief Keef. Let's take a few seconds to listen to what he's talking about. Let's hear this.
Okay, that song I don't like.
But it's a hit record. My son has it on his little cell phone right now. My son don't know who this guy is and what this guy represents. This is a major record. This is a hit record right now. That's that shit I don't like. Kanye's on it with him. This is what I'm saying.
Oh, well, I can't. Please, don't start me on Kanye.
But this is what I'm saying. I'm not banging on this kid. I'm not. I think this kid is a beacon. He has the potentiality. You got to remember, a lot of people just want to give Malcolm X credit for being Malcolm X. But you have to remember, Malcolm X was Sonny Red
baby.
first.
That's right.
And the same dude he was allowed to transform and become somebody else. This young dude has the potentiality to lead millions to a better life.
No, he doesn't.
Yes, he does. He wouldn't be in the position he is right now if he wasn't who he was.
Dude, okay. Do you think he's going to be in there? If seven brothers from FOI threw a blanket over his head and brought him directly to have an audience with Brother Minister Farrakhan, the dude who can unpick any lock.
That's a good point.
If Minister Farrakhan spent 3 days with this dude, he would untie his knots.
No, it would have to be more than 3 days.
I think he could do it, man. That's a deep dude. But here's my point. 3 days, 3 weeks, 3 months. When he's done with that dude does not fit this billet. There is a billet. We need ignorant, crazy nigga with a penchant for iambic pentameter right here.
But wait, before we go to break, let me give you this. This kid has the potentiality to do the same thing Snoop Dogg did. Snoop Dogg came in as a Crip from LBC, Long Beach, straight gang banging.
Right.
Okay? But 10, 20 years later, he's with Quincy Jones and they sitting down talking to Tony Robbins. You see what I mean? He had to go through. Remember, Snoop Dogg was on trial for murder.
Life. Absolutely, but that's not the...
right after his career started. This kid has the potentiality to turn himself around.
And once he does, he has to step down out of the billet for crazy nigga with a penchant for iambic pentameter. And the problem is the billet. We need to destroy that billet. That's the deal.
I agree. We got to take a quick break. So what? If you want to call us right now, 323-965-1600. That is the number to dial. Tell us what you think about this. Is Chicago a worse place to be than Iraq, apparently?
Nope, ain't no Harold's Chicken in Iraq.
Somebody call us. We'll be back. 2.2. Bang, bang. Snoop Dogg classic.
What?
Jeez, you know what? Whew, classic.
Well, I'm the hugest Snoop fan. My mama likes Snoop. You got to go far and wide to find somebody that don't like Snoop.
No, you know what? Snoop has come a long way, man. He's come a long way. And if you look at some of the things he does in the community, like that little football situation he got, I mean, where he gets the youth together and they have these serious football tournaments and he's teaching them, he's training them, he's got foundations and everything. But we're walking a fine line with hip-hop. Hip-hop is one of the most powerful cultures on planet Earth. And hip-hop is like a fire. Fire in and of itself is not evil. It is the wielder of the fire. Now, you can take some fire and light a baby's bottle, warm it, and the baby can have some warm milk. Or you could take that same fire and throw it in grandmama's house and burn the whole apartment complex down.
Right.
Because she didn't share her cornbread with you. I mean, again, it's the intention of the wielder of the culture. And my question is, what is the purpose of gang culture being sensationalized within the fire of hip hop?
To keep the black man down.
Like, why is there a place for gang culture in there? Like, what is the purpose of gang culture in and of itself? Today, we talked about its purpose in the past, where these were offshoots, of the Black Panthers. We knew what the Black Panther was about. We were tired of being oppressed by a racist system that oppressed black men, women, and children. So we created organizations like the Black Panthers so we could say no. And remember, back then, we called each other niggers because we were reclaiming the word.
Absolutely.
We were saying, no. Much like the homosexual community or the gay and lesbian community do today.
Right.
Where they say, no, queer, we're going to take queer back. That's our word now.
Yeah.
It's no longer offensive to us. It's ours now. Well, they got that cue from the black community when we said we taking nigga back. Now, nigga is a term of empowerment. Yeah, I'm a nigga. Do something about it.
Okay, could we play Ice-T's I'm a Nigga? That's the most brilliant song to cover this.
But what I'm saying now is with the youth today, being in a gang means what? I mean, we hear Lil Wayne banging on wax. We hear Baby banging on. He's a grown-ass man, nowhere near a baby.
Right.
But we hear Baby banging on wax. We hear Game banging on. What is the purpose of a gang today? What does it mean? I could see if gangs like Crips and Bloods organized themselves like Democratic gangs and Republican gangs, because to me those are gangs too.
Oh yeah.
And they're changing the world. Or even a Christian gang. What I mean by a Christian gang, when you get Christians who lobby the Republicans and then the Republicans will kowtow to Christian demands, that's a gang with an agenda. What is the agenda of these street gangs in the hood that promote the culture of, death and violence amongst our own people? Somebody talk to me about it.
Honestly, I think they've been put in a loop. I think what you spoke on about the Panthers, that was the deep shit, is that their purpose was directly about the injustice put to and put toward black people. Now, if you take that out and do them like in Africa, like the Hutu and the Tutsis were done, to where instead of fighting for freedom as a people, they start fighting each other. Then you put their demise on autopilot and step back. So that's what's going on. There is no true purpose other than to feed the privatized prison system. And as bad as it sounds, it sure would be nice to own a funeral home in Chicago right now.
Wow.
I think one of the purposes is of gangs or any groups is you feel more powerful when you're part of something. When you're feeling small and you're part of something bigger, you feel more powerful. But it's but it's the purpose of the gang. I mean, the gang can do evil. The gang can do good stuff. And I think it's the leaders that are charged with the direction of that, and the leaders, people are very vulnerable followers, and so. But I think you belong to something bigger than you because you feel smaller than you.
Wow, we got a caller on the line. Who do we have online right now? Caller, speak to us. Talk to us about what we're talking about right now. Caller.
Hey there.
What up, caller? You're on.
Hey, what's going on, y'all? It's all right.
What's happening, man?
What's going on, man? Good topic y'all talking about. Great topic. I think y'all both hit on it. Geoff and Zoe, you both hit on it. Is that I always say that NWA, when they came out, was kind of the Arrested Development of the culture.
Wow.
That they came out with a purpose, and it went over so big commercially that the purpose got lost, and it just became cool to gangbang, and that's still the same today.
Let me, stay on with me, because that is a heavy point. Here's the thing. I know a couple of people in NWA. I know Ren. Me and Ren were really tight back in the day. Ren, listen, the purpose of NWA, these guys represented the culture where they were from. They only can speak to a consciousness that they're in. They can't speak higher than the consciousness that they're in, because if they were in a higher consciousness, they wouldn't be there. They wouldn't be speaking on gang violence. But I think some of what they talked about, they kind of lucked into. Take, for instance, fuck the police. Now, that was a Black Panther-esque kind of record, because it was like there's injustice in our neighborhood and the police are abusing us, and
nobody cares.
Nobody cares. So in that angle, they were on par with that record with Public Enemy on the East Coast. But what happened was, I think they lost the battle within themselves and started talking about the stuff that's in their community more. Because they only had one Fuck the Police record. The rest of the stuff was gangsta, straight out of Compton, Boys in the Hood. It went niggas for life, you know. It don't matter, just don't bite it, you know.
Right.
They went in that direction.
I think that speaks to their problem and the handler's problem. Once the money starts rolling in, purpose gets lost. And you can follow that with organizations around the world. The whole pink ribbon movement that, you know, handles the NFL for an entire month of October or something like that. Mm-hmm. Once the money starts rolling in, the purpose and the actual true essence of what you started gets lost, because people want to make more money.
Right. Wow, that's a great point.
So when you had NWA come in and they started pushing, you know, the true stuff, white America, the white kids said, "Oh, this is cool." And they started spending money. Well, then the executive said, "Oh, okay, well, let's sign NWA. Oh, we can't get another NWA? Let's sign somebody else. Let's get somebody just like them to get the money. Fuck the purpose. Let's get the money."
Wow. Thanks for the call. I appreciate it. We got another caller on, too. Yeah. Let's go.
Pick it up.
Hello, you're on. Talk to us. So What Morning Show. Let's go.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm chilling. What's your name?
Rumka.
Okay.
Hey, Rumka. Thanks for calling in, man. It was great to see you over the last week. But are you listening into any of the stuff we're talking about?
Actually, no. I was in the middle of a meeting, so when you told me to call, I just jumped out to call you guys.
Okay. No, what we're talking about is gangsters and
I like the way you said that, Dr. Mark. Gangsters.
Yeah, see how he took the ER off?
Okay.
I see that.
Hey, we were calling Mark all weekend Master Gangster.
That's Master Gangster.
Yeah. Well, you guys, the whole group didn't know any better. I'm sitting next to the Master Gangster.
Oh, no, you ain't. No, you come on now. Whitey, y'all is the true Master Gangster.
Whitey is always the true Master Gangster.
I don't know no gangsters that got nuclear weapons and destroyers and shit. Y'all.
So Rumkey, let me catch you up to what we're talking about. We're talking about, there's a news article out there that's saying there have been more deaths since 2008 in the city of Chicago than there were than all of the soldiers that died in Afghanistan. So the question was, is Chicago, in terms of black on black crime, in terms of just black life, is that a more dangerous place to be than Afghanistan? I mean, and it's crazy. We're talking about gang violence on wax. There are a lot of rappers out there right now that are claiming their set, that are banging. And what is that influence? What is that impact on kids who are listening today? And I mean, hip-hop is an international movement. Right. So could this be a way to spread gangs internationally all over the world? 323-965-1600. Talk to me, Remke.
Well, I mean, essentially it has, right? You know, you had the glorification of hip-hop like in the early 90s. And, I mean, you had people in Japan that were glorifying certain aspects of living kind of the gangbanger life, you know? So I think it's had a huge impact. You know, and in Chicago, I'm only an hour and a half away. I have a lot of friends there. And, you know, I have friends that are talking about going to funerals every other week, you know, that are community members and the impact that it's made in their city. And it's sad, and it's kind of crazy because statistically it seems like it was supposed to be that things are getting better, but the things that are worse are getting, you know, are becoming more worse, and there's a lot of impact as far as people trying to push a limit every single time. Well, I want to be grimier than the person before me, so I'm going to do a little bit more crazier things.
Wow.
And it's just, I worked in juvenile prison, and I think a lot of it comes down to just
juvenile prison.
Yeah, I worked in Ethan Allen Correctional for a while.
Wow. So you probably see these guys come in and out the revolving door of this situation, right?
Yeah, I mean, you have somebody that has like no parents, right? I mean, they literally live on the streets, and in juvie you get air conditioning, or we're kind of up north a little bit, so it's real cold. So you want to be somewhere warm, or I mean, what other lifestyle do you know? You're on the streets, nobody's taking care of you. You go back to juvie, somebody's taking care of you, somebody's acting, responding to you as a human. That's some real talk right there.
Wow.
Some people just they literally kind of self-sabotage their own situation.
Wow. But I would say they do that because they don't know any better, right?
Right.
They don't know any better. Somebody call us.
One thing that I always ask kids is, I said, how many people here have been told they're not going to be anything? And everybody raises their hands. And I said, how many people here are told that they are special and they have something to look forward to? Nobody says anything about it. So it's a condition, I did the same thing in high school. I was told, well, you're not going to get a job. Here's this real good factory job you can get. And I believed it for a long time.
Wow. So what made you change believing in that? What made you, was there something that turned you around?
Well, I'd entered a program called Homeboys. So what they did is they taught inner city kids how to do computers. And I've kind of been a little hidden computer nerd in the hood.
Is this an organization, Remke, sorry for cutting you off, is this an organization that is still active and functioning right now?
Sadly, it's not. It closed in about 2006.
Wow, because I was going to say, what's the website? Because we need to counterbalance, what's happening in these communities with those types of resources. Now, why did they shut down?
A lot of different reasons. A lot of it organizational structure, kind of around the area that right at the cusp of like the internet blowing up in everybody's face as far as financially with a lot of .comers and stuff. We had a hard time getting things back on track after a couple of years.
So. Was there a moment in all that where something clicked, where you said, I can do this and I can be something more than I thought I could be? Because that's what we're looking for. What can influence someone to make that turning point, hit that trigger? What can you?
Yeah, the main thing is I just didn't see opportunity. A lot of people, they live in like an 8-block radius. I ain't getting out of the hood. Where are you going to go? You ain't going to go nowhere. You ain't going to be anybody. You might as well stay here. And like even like the brothers in your crew, like they always kind of like, well, why are you going there? Why are you doing this? Like, why are you trying to get a job? Like, because I'm trying to improve myself. Well, is that ridiculous? And like I had to disconnect myself from people just to focus on being a better person. And I think that's like a huge part of like just not knowing that there's an opportunity there. You mean I can actually get a job to draw? Like I didn't know that.
Wow. This is what I want to do really quickly. I need Mercedes to read this story so Ramke could get a little bit more information on this particular kid that we're talking about. His name is Chief Keef. What's the story again? And he's having a beef with another rapper, and that's Lupe Fiasco, correct?
Oh, yeah, I know this whole story.
So you know what's going on, right?
Mm-hmm.
So how do we get these two guys together to make some kind of peace with each other? I think Lupe said he would retire, right, Mercedes?
Yeah, he said he would retire. It breaks his heart to see things like this and people be examples like this.
Wow. So apparently Chief Keef just feels like this is who I am, this is what this is, and this is how I'm going to, represent myself from here on out.
I mean, it takes leadership to make a direction. So it almost, who's his influencer? Who's the person that he looks up to that can kind of just say, you know what, this is just a really ridiculous approach. This isn't the early 90s anymore.
Well, you know what?
Like,
Geoff Brown is in here with us right now, internationally known comedian. He said he's from Chicago as well. He said he thinks Farrakhan is the perfect person to get through to this kid. What do you think the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan's impact would be on this kid? Do you think they're listening to him? Because let me just say this really quick. What I recognize is the younger the kid, the more detached from the leadership from the past.
Oh, absolutely.
So I don't know. I'm not saying that the minister wouldn't affect this guy positively, but what I'm saying is the minister too far removed from affecting this guy? He needs somebody within his own little. You know what I mean? I don't know. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, I think that's.
I mean, what about just a group of people that are just saying, like, this has to stop? A group of people that can call somebody out. I mean, we live in a social media world. If there's a group of young influencers his age that just says, what you're doing is ridiculous and it just needs to stop.
I mean, we'll take another
get a bunch of college kids to say it. I'm sure
right. Well, he ain't gonna listen to the college
kids.
That's
the problem.
Yeah.
Is who this dude will listen to and what petri dish he's growing in. You got to think about the people that are around this dude every day. And aggression, the only thing that aggression respects is
aggression.
Bigger aggressors.
Yeah.
And the one man I know he can't come at with no bullshit is the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan.
Right.
He can't come at you. Can't come at him with violence. You can't come at him with nothing from your side that's going to intimidate or.
You're not going to intimidate him.
You ain't going to intimidate him, and you're not going to influence him.
You're not going to sway him.
You ain't going to sway. Put it this way: if him and Minister Farrakhan go into a room in 2 weeks, Farrakhan ain't gonna come out gangbanging. You put it that way. Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
That's who he needs. If somebody under the sound of my voice has the power to make that happen, I think that's what needs to happen.
That's what needs to happen.
Absolutely.
I think some of it is also how you can when you listen to people, not to try to control them, but you believe that down deep there's something going on. If you listen and consistently say to someone in the right tone and the right key, come on, what's really going on? And then let them vent and whatever, and you don't escalate with them, come on, what's really going on?
Doc.
You can go down several layers and something will crack inside. I hate my life. There's nothing to live for you, but what's really going on?
Exactly.
And then if you're lucky and the person feels that you're not there to control them and you believe in them, people crack open, and when they crack open, they exhale.
Absolutely.
And when they exhale, something changes inside, and actually little rays of hope get in there. But it takes someone who just believes at your core, and refuses to let you fail or to give in to who. And give up on who you could be. But what happens is when people come back at you and say, well, I don't want to listen to you, you can say, well, fine, then just go ruin your life on your own. So what you need is someone who's really determined and believes in you even when you don't.
Doc, you said something that's very, very interesting. I'm sorry I almost interrupted it. How? Give us an example of how people listen to control. That was just amazing. How does that happen? Because you said you want someone to listen to you, but not to listen to you to control you. How does a person listen to control?
You haven't.
Guys, I have to drop off. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Okay. Rumka, thank you. We'll be in touch.
Thanks, Rumka.
All right, thank you. No problem. You guys have a good day.
All right.
Thank you. Bye-bye. The real proof that you have listened to someone, and you can push back on this, is when they exhale. Because when you listen to someone without the desire to control or beat up, I've seen a number of people who really hate who take you on and they're all critical and whatever, and I let them vent. And one of the things I've said to some of them, and they just crack open, is I say, I'll tell you what you're most afraid of, and they say, yeah, what's that? And I say, you're most afraid of feeling completely safe because you wouldn't know what to do with it. And what happens is they start to crack. And it's like their whole life starts to flash. You wouldn't know what it's like to feel safe, and the pain of your whole life would start to pour, and you're crying now because it's the only thing that will help you heal, and it's too scary because there's too much, and they just fillet open. I mean, they collapse. And does that make any sense?
No.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Say more.
Absolutely. If there's that's why we need an Al-Qaeda. That's why we need a boogeyman. If we don't have a boogeyman, okay, that's what happens when your boogeyman disappears? What am I supposed to do with all these guns? What am I supposed to do with this big wall that I've built around myself if there's nothing for it to be out there for?
I think we look for reasons to not feel safe, because then that explains why we have all the guns and we have all our attitude and stuff like that. And so if you look for reasons to say I'm not safe, that just justifies all the stuff you do. But boy, if you can find a reason to feel safe, I am telling you, people they just fillet open and they start to heal. You can see it in front of you.
There's 2 book references I have to corroborate that. One is Dr. David Hawkins, PhD, wrote a book called Power versus Force. And in that book, Quincy Jones told me, hey, man, God's in it, man. God's in that book. Shit, get that book, boy. Right? He told me to get the book. I got the book, Power versus Force. And in the book, he says, this is how we know you're starting to heal, is when you cry. Because that lets us know there's a release happening. So that was one thing. And the other thing was, there's a book called Spiritual Psychology. I have a friend who's taking this course at the University of Santa Monica. It's called Spiritual Psychology.
That's a wonderful course.
Yes, it is, right?
It's an amazing course.
Incredible. She told me to get this book, Spiritual Psychology by the Hulnicks, the married couple. They're both PhDs, right? And in the book, it says, every upset is looking for a because. It needs a justification to be. I'm upset because of this, because of that. I need to be upset. And if we could just let go of our becauses.
Tell me what you think about this, because we were going to speak about suicide, and maybe we're speaking a little bit about it right now.
Yeah.
I used to give talks to a lot of schools on suicide and suicidal thinking. And there's a word called despair, D-E-S-P-A-I-R. And when I would talk about it, I would say, almost everyone who feels suicidal feels despair, and if you break the word into 2 halves, DES, which is to undo, and pair, it means feeling unpaired in a world in which it feels like everyone else is paired with hope, looks, intelligent, a future. And the 5 or 6 lessons of suicidal thinking are when you feel or think everything is pointless, meaningless, hopeless, worthless, useless.
Wow.
And so when I used to give these talks, I'd say, if you can, less means without. And if you can give anyone the experience of with, if you can take hopeless and give them some taste of hope, take away helpless, give them some taste of being able to be helpable.
Right.
Worthless. What happens is the suicidality goes away.
Hey, listen, that was our tease for the next hour. We're coming up with it right after this break. We got to take a quick break. Zoe What Morning Show. We're going to talk about suicide. This is tough.
Yeah.
So, hey, depression, all of this stuff is going to come umbrella and mushroom into this conversation. We'll be back at 2.2. Holla at us, 323-965-1600. I'll be back at 2. Man, they had a voice. This was the platform that turned everybody on. The FBI was checking for NWA. I mean, it was crazy, right?
Well,
that was when they had a voice.
It depresses me. To hear this song actually depresses me.
Speaks to the angst, racism, police brutality. It speaks to all of that.
It speaks to how new music ain't shit. New music. Attention, rappers. If you are in the studio under the sound of my voice, okay, it ain't that you ain't dope. I get it. You got a bunch of gold or whatever it is you misspending your money on. You got nice cars and you'll kill somebody. Well, somebody black, because you know better than to kill anybody white, right?
Because they're coming for you.
Exactly.
Kill some white folk.
Kill some white folk. That's the next rapper, the toughest dude. I want you to brag about killing white people. I'd like to hear that.
Yeah, they'll be at your house.
I'm tired about hearing about the niggas you kill, because that's not a big deal, okay?
Are you advocating black on white crime?
No, I'm advocating the braggadocio about black on white crime. I dare you, if you that dope, talk about an incident where you shot somebody white and see what happened.
All right, so listen, we're going to transition the show for the second hour into our featured topic. Everybody heard about this high-end music executive, man, Chris Lighty, just committed suicide. But I'm not going to give up the story. I'm going to let our news reporter, Mercedes Bryant. What is the details of the story? Talk to me.
So Chris Lighty, he was a music executive.
Lighty.
Lighty.
She's 12. We know Lighty.
Violator
Chris
Records?
Lighty, Violator
Chris
Records.
Lighty
Yes.
was a music executive, and he was a manager to 50 Cent and P. Diddy. He was well known pretty much in the music
Really
industry.
well known dude.
Very. And well respected.
Well respected.
He committed suicide. He shot himself in the head in his Bronx apartment on the 30th of August. Supposedly, it was right after an argument with his estranged wife, Veronica.
Wow.
It always gets back to a damn woman.
It probably does. The police found him laying face up with a 9mm pistol next to him.
That's tough.
Yeah.
Doc, let's go into the mentality. I mean, how low do you have to go in yourself to where suicide becomes a viable option? What is the mind like of a suicidal person?
Remember before the break, I was talking about how people feel kind of unpaired
Yes.
with everything, and they feel helpless, hopeless, worthless, all that. What happens is, if you imagine all those things, helpless, worthless, hopeless, whatever, kind of like a slot machine, and they're all lining up at the same time, what happens is that the pain is so much, and the need to pair, I mean, we have paired arms, we have paired chromosome, that you start to think about pairing with death as relief. Geez, I can't pair with anything else, and it starts to be a possibility. Oh, if I just kill myself, I'll feel better. And so you don't feel a sense of yourself as a human being.
Or I won't feel at all.
I won't feel anything. And so what happens is it becomes very seductive. It'll all be over. I won't have to feel this again. And then again, if you can just think of it as like this massive slot machine, and when all of those things line up, you just feel you can't connect with anything, and then
That's when you jump off a bridge.
But I could end it.
Right. And this guy, it says Chris was having some financial issues. It also says he was having some relationship issues. And doesn't it always seem that the combination of the two puts you in that space? Finance and romance?
It's not always the same. But when men commit suicide, there's often a big element of humiliation and shame, or they anticipate they're going to be humiliated and shamed. Mm-hmm. Whereas I think when women kill themselves, the pain, they just want out of the pain. The pain is too much. I can't take it anymore. So shame and humiliation really is a lethal combination, a lot of men.
For men.
Because we're so prideful.
Wow.
And when there's this embarrassment, or add that to the powerlessness we were talking about before, I mean, pridefulness kills men.
Wow. 323-965-1600. I know it's a tough topic, but geez, we got more stories. Who else in the news that has committed suicide? We got some football players. Yeah.
O.J. Murdoch. Did I say it right?
Yes.
Okay. He committed suicide outside his former high school.
This was a few years ago, right? Football player, right? Denver Broncos.
Yeah, he was 25 years old. He signed to NFL's Tennessee
Titans. Yeah.
It was a year ago he signed. He never got to play though because he got injured, so he was probably depressed about that. But he was found in front of his former high school, Middleton High School. It was like 2 weeks ago on Monday. The Tampa, Florida police officer found him with a gunshot wound sitting in his car. He made it to the hospital, but 2 hours later he died.
And this happened last year.
No, it was like on Monday.
This is some recent death.
Yeah.
Wow.
Part of that is
I was going to ask you.
A lot of guys are adrenaline junkies. I mean, and you do stuff that makes you feel, and adrenaline makes you feel powerful. And the problem is that the crash off an adrenaline rush is much worse than how high you get on it. And so what happens is you keep doing these things to try and keep the adrenaline going. And then when your power is taken away, if the only thing you think makes you powerful is you're going to be an athlete or something like that, the crash off that pure rush of adrenaline, it can make you feel desperate. I've seen some powerful people in the past, and one of the things, when they're at the tail end of their career, one of the things they deal with, one of them said it really amazingly. He said, when you go from somebody to anybody, you're nobody.
Wow.
And that hurts.
Jeez. A lot of people are dealing with this right now. How is depression associated with suicidal thoughts, suicidal thinking, and how does depression maybe bring you to that space?
Well, I don't know what the statistic is, but there's a good chance that probably 70 to 80% of people who do commit suicide, that depression is going on. And the sad thing is depression is treatable. I mean, I'm a psychiatrist, but I refer people out for meds. I can tell when someone's depressed, but I refer them out to other people. And I'll tell you, I've felt what people feel like when they get treatment. And it's amazing if you're feeling that everything is impossible, and you just get a 10% shift where stuff might be possible, that's life-saving. Yeah. And it's really small. I mean, nothing has to change in your life, but you just feel like, I don't know why, but I think it's possible.
Why do you think the suicide rate is so high in the military? And Geoff, you were in the military.
Yeah.
Why do you think
go on, Geoff. Weigh in.
I think the biggest part now is the people who are right on the front lines and what it is that they're seeing. Where these younger people are coming from now is a far less wholesome place than, say, 30, 40 years ago. Mm-hmm. And when they get out here and in the center of all of this death, all of this negativity, and let's just be honest, the U.S. military as an organization is not taking care of their people like they used to. That's for real.
Well, they want to keep them fighting. They deny it. They minimize it, and they say, "Oh, well, you look ready. You can go back."
Well, not only that, just purely from a financial standpoint. There are cats over there who are having to call and ask their relatives for supplies. What kind of shit is that? I'm on the front lines. You're asking me to kill people. We're supposed to be the most elite fighting force in the world. And damn it, we ain't got Frosted Flakes. Really? Really? It's shit like that that's seriously happening to these cats. And I really feel for them.
I was working with a group of former Marines, and one of them is a guy named Lieutenant General Marty Steele. He ran the Marines in the 90s. And you got to love the guy, because what he does now is he just spends his time visiting Marines, wounded Marines. He's now doing something at University of South Florida. But and they had a great transition program, 2006 to 2008, and then the funding fell out. And in that program, when they asked these soldiers what was the most important thing they learned, and they learned about resumes and they learned about things like that, and they said, well, the hour and a half one-on-one time with General Steele was the most amazing thing. And I asked General Steele, I said, what'd you talk about? And he's an amazing listener. And he'll look into the eyes of a messed up face, a blown off whatever that no one else can. And what he would say to people, remember I was saying earlier, what's really going on? So he'd say, Marine, what's going on? What's really going on? Mm-hmm. And he said the cracking point for a lot of them is they would say, sir, I did bad things and I saw bad things, and when I close my eyes, I see them more clearly, so I don't close my eyes. And he gives them a direct order to put it aside and say, war is not pretty, it's necessary. And all the letters he gets from spouses, you did save my husband's life, but it's but I think that's what a lot of people are haunted, is not just what they saw, but what they did. And when you shoot up an innocent family, you may be trained, that's collateral damage.
Right.
But boy, the horror of that can be amazing.
And having to sleep and relive and deal with that. And you spoke about the adrenaline junkie. Would you say that would be more associated to, say, maybe like the athlete, the football player? Because Junior Seau, legendary linebacker, USC, San Diego Chargers, Miami Dolphins, and the Patriots. I think he played for all of those teams. Legendary, great guy, football player. He committed suicide as well. Do you think that's more associated to the adrenaline side of it?
Yeah,
but I think he was having financial issues
I think
too.
so. And this will be either my ignorant white thing or my ignorant racist white thing. One of the things that a number of retired athletes do, but this isn't just black athletes, this is white athletes, is one of the reasons some of them, if you think O.J. Simpson, stalk after women or something like that is to get the adrenaline rush. They chase after the forbidden after the glory days are gone, because what's forbidden feels like an adrenaline rush, and they'll do whatever they can to keep it alive. And the more forbidden it is, the more the rush.
I don't know if.
But what about player protection in the NFL? They're having concussions. They're having all type of know.
So you add concussion. What does a concussion do? A concussion makes it more difficult to resist an impulse. I mean, any concussion makes it really difficult
because of the frontal lobe situation.
Yeah, because we have impulses, and it's amazing. Without our frontal lobe, we'd all be killing each other ourselves. And so frontal lobe damage, anything, it's a little bit like being drunk with a bad impulse.
Ooh, go deeper.
So your impulse control is almost nil.
Yeah,
or it
gets less and less. And so what happens is the thought, the feeling is the deed.
It's one movement.
It's one movement.
Wow.
An interesting thing, one of the reasons they put people on suicide watch after they commit homicide is because sometimes what happens is the ones who didn't plan it, what happens is they feel such relief getting, when they kill someone, that they then wake up, come back to their senses, see what they did, and can't live with it.
Wow.
But, until they do it, all they can think about is, I got to kill someone, I got to kill this something. And then when they do it and they see it, now some of it's, the fear I'm going to be persecuted and prosecuted and whatever. But a lot of times what happens is it's kind of like when you scream and you say some mean things to the people you love, I mean, you actually feel better afterwards.
Then you come down, yeah.
Boy, the body damage of saying things that can't be taken back, that someone you love holds on for a lifetime. Whoa.
What if
awful.
you... Well, I'm a firm.
You about to hear come something?
Okay, let's lighten it up. Our master gangster here.
All right, man.
What if you meant what you said?
What if you meant exactly what the hell you said? Okay, here, I can say this. I never say things that I don't mean. I don't. And I've said some mean things, but I meant that shit I said. I don't.
Did you mean to say it the way you said it?
Oh, my God. When I told my ex-wife
what did you tell
that
her?
I'm getting a picture of you airbrushed on my windshield so it looks like I'm running your monkey ass over all the time, I meant that shit. I just couldn't find an airbrush artist who could make it so that I could still see the road. That was the only reason, because I had a windshield done like that, and I couldn't see nothing but her covered up like this. I meant that shit. When I say something to you, I have thought it out. I have run it through a stream of processes, and now here it is. Here it is.
So your frontal lobe is damaged?
My frontal lobe. I think, you know what? Thank you. That is the name of the thing that I'm taping a DVD. Jeff Brown, frontal lobe damage.
So Jeff, I'm gonna try something on you.
Yes, sir.
Because I think what happens, one of the most difficult things to do for all of us is to feel as deeply as we can disappointment in others and ourselves. Because when you feel disappointment, it feels like you can't do it anymore. So if you feel disappointed in a boss, but you still need the job, you don't want to feel disappointed because you feel like, well, maybe I should leave, but I need the job. If you feel disappointed in a spouse, but no, I don't want to get divorced. And here is something that this brilliant person taught me. He said, we so don't want to feel disappointment in others or ourselves that the two things we do to get away from the disappointment is we get angry or we shut down. So here's where I would drill down with you. I would say that before it led to all this anger and whatever, down deep there's a part of you that felt either disappointed in her or disappointed in your judgment because you're smart for ever getting involved with someone like that, and you said to yourself, what was I thinking?
Well, actually, there was a swear word in that, but yes, that's exactly what I did.
But here's the thing: is if you can actually admit, because the real word is, I just feel I'm so smart. How can I keep doing these stupid things? If you could admit the disappointment, because that's what it really is, it lifts. But if you don't want to admit the disappointment, you go straight to being angry at yourself or angry at someone else or just shut down.
But that's what most people do, Doc.
98% of people do.
Yeah,
I must be a sociopath.
Close.
Because I've done this work on myself. And I still enjoy the swearing. I still enjoy cussing. I like cussing people out.
Well, I don't know if you're a sociopath because you like to curse. I don't.
No, I don't have any. Not that part. I have no
filter.
There's that.
And then there's that.
It's part of your profession. Come on, Geoff. I mean, it's part of the whole thing.
I do churches. I have a church show that I do. So it's not necessarily a part of my profession. The despair about getting divorced, I didn't feel any of that. Either time. I've been divorced twice, and I didn't feel any.
Damn.
No, I didn't say despair. So you didn't feel. So all your disappointment was aimed at them, and you didn't even stop at disappointment. You just went straight to anger.
No, I went to.
You only got one gear. You only got one gear.
Yes, there was some anger in it. But I went straight to. This is some bullshit. This is my part of the bullshit. This is your part of the bullshit, and we're not gonna work on it together. I'm gone.
Okay. What was your part of the
Oh
bullshit?
yeah, this is your deeper moment.
Swear no more slip for me. Go
Absolutely. My first relationship, my first marriage. Before you can be the man of a house, you must first be a man. And I was too young. I was 22. I didn't have any idea the concept of being a leader of a house. My second marriage, the big bullshit that was me, was this desire to do this because it seemed like the right thing to do at the right time. And I was so sewn in, so interwoven into doing what was right. I'm going to go back to church and I'm going to marry this girl because she understands the industry and I need to be here and I need to do that. And I put these preconceived concepts over the template that was me, and I shouldn't have done
So what you should do overrode what you wanted to do, and then what happened is it just corroded, and then it angered you, and you see, I'm not a perfect person, but I can't do this what I should do anymore. It's just killing me. I got to do what I want to do. And
well, no, not even the should do. I had no idea what I should do. I had no idea what I really wanted to do.
You were just young.
I was young. I was young both times, but the first time, idiot. The second time, just a drone. A drone.
I'm going to say you were the problem.
Yes, absolutely.
That's what I'm going to say.
Absolutely.
Enough
to apologize to them two heifers? Hell no. Hell no.
I just wanted to
if I ever pull a pin out of a
bit.
grenade, I sure hope I throw and hit them both. Okay?
Since you guys been married a few times, the best advice I ever heard from someone who's been married for the third time happily and his wife the second time.
That's me.
And I said, what's the single best advice? He says, this doesn't really apply to first married, but second or third. He said, you're capable of failing big time. He said, so we have ground rules when we have a difference of opinion, so it doesn't turn into an argument, so it doesn't turn into a war. And each of us know that having to be right will kill the marriage. So we have ground rules. So like one of the ground rules is we never use the word you never or always. You never,
Absolutely.
you always, and all that sort of stuff. And so, but come up with ground rules that you both respect.
That's part of what Mercedes was talking about with the discipline gang.
Oh, the disciplines.
You need discipline to stay on.
Discipline, fool.
That rule. Because a lot of times, people will agree to certain, to use a certain practice and then fall off.
Well, you need to, as we said, you need to get your frontal lobe working, and you need to resist all the adrenalines up there, not just from excitement, but just from anger, the adrenaline rush.
I think the first place you have to start at is this personal place of peace, because me and my wife had a disagreement last night. It wasn't a disagreement. I screwed up.
You ate the big piece of chicken?
Oh, my God.
No,
So where we start at, and this is one of our rules, is when we're going to discuss a disagreement, the first thing out of my mouth is her point of view. And the first thing out of her mouth is my point of view. So I go, look,
that's good.
I understand that where you coming from with me and my dumb ass leaving and going all the way to Inglewood and forgetting the key that I needed. So I had to drive all the way back and drive all the way out there and drive all the way back and burn up all that gas. That was damn dumb of me. That was dumb. And before, I wasn't coming from... Okay, I did it. That was me. I did it. Now what? My key word is can't nobody whip my ass. Who whooping my ass?
Try this. When you try this is when you're in an argument or when you're about to be in an argument. Think of the first thing you want to say, and don't say it. Think about the second. Take a deep breath and exhale. Deep breath. Think of the second thing you want to say and don't say that. Take a deep breath. Then think of the third thing you want to say and say that, because the first thing is about defending yourself. The second thing is about getting even.
Okay, this is
great.
great.
The third thing is about maybe finding a solution.
This is awesome, and then we're gonna wrap this show. This is awesome. Using that template, Geoff Brown, think of your ex-wife.
Okay.
And I want to hear you taking a deep breath. What is the first thing you think of? But you're not going to say it, but you're going to tell us. What is the first thing, Geoff?
Okay. First off, you horrible heifer. I would rather put a hot cigar out in my fucking eye than talk to you right now.
Okay, you're not going to say
that. So I don't
that.
get to say that.
No. Now, what's the second thing? We got to take the deep breath.
Your house is so nasty that I wipe my feet on the way out so I don't get the earth dirty.
Sometimes you have to take 100 breaths.
Right.
Okay,
so number 3.
Get to step
now, this
99.
is the thing. This is the thing you got to say to her.
This is about the welfare of our children.
Okay. All right.
Let's try to work this out in a way that does not end with a screwdriver sticking out of your throat.
And then he ruined it.
That's
okay.
true,
Yeah.
I thought I was doing good. That's how it was.
No, because the exercise is you take those beats. It's like taking a beat, taking a breath.
I did.
But
The screwdriver in the throat is a bad thing, right?
Yeah.
So let's try to make it so that I don't have to take this screwdriver
No,
and stick you
you
in your throat.
You don't make the good point about this is about the kids. And then end with, because I don't want to have to. Jesus, he ruined it.
Crap.
Anyway,
I tried.
Hey, we got to wrap up now. Dr. Mark, where can they find you? Because that was an awesome tool that you just gave the listeners, and I'm sure they're going to use it in their relationship.
Third thing. That's a great book. The third thing.
Yeah. That's awesome.
MarkGoulston.com. MarkGoulston.
And I urge everybody to follow him on Twitter. What's the Twitter handle?
I think it's at Mark Goulston.
At Mark Goulston. You got to get with him. And Geoff, where can they find you? Put a picture on your Twitter page.
GB Funny Style. I need to start tweeting. I don't tweet enough because I'm driving. I'm doing stuff with my kids. I can't, but I'm going to start tweeting. I promise. Or go to Facebook and just look up GB Funny Style because I put a lot of ignorant stuff on there. All
right. So listen, we got to go. I'm Zoe Williams. Follow me on Twitter at Zoe Williams. Zoe What Morning Show. Great show today. Great topics. Great discussion. I'm sure everybody's going to be chiming in on this. This is a good thing. I'll see you guys next week. Let's keep it cracking. Holla.